Good evening. I'm Clarissa Ward. I'm a senior international correspondent with CNN. The assassination of opposition leader Boris Nemtsov took place just steps away from the Kremlin, the seat of power in Russia. And while someone has confessed to his murder, a former security officer from Chechnya, many argue that it is not possible that this assassination could have happened without the knowledge of some of those in power inside Russia. And we are joined tonight by Zhanna Nemtsova. She is an activist, she is a journalist, and she is also the daughter of Boris Nemtsov. She is now living in exile from her own country. Zhanna, thank you so much for being with us. And tell me, who do you hold responsible for the death of your father?
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I haven't changed my mind since February, and I said that I think that the political responsibility lies on the president of Russia, Putin, because without him, it would have never been possible that this assassination could have happened.
What do you mean by that exactly? How was he responsible? What kind of a culture or climate did he create, do you believe, in Russia?
I cannot blame him directly, as I don't have evidence for that. Russia now is a medieval country. We are back in the Middle Ages. Russia is a very aggressive country. It's very aggressive internally towards its people who are critical of the current regime, and outwards, as you all see what's going on in Ukraine and in Syria. The second thing is that Putin's power is based on lies, as my father said, and he's totally right. I think that, and these lies mean that in Russia we have a very powerful instrument, propaganda, and it is a criminal propaganda. It's not like propaganda that Putin is great, that's okay, but it's a criminal propaganda. It creates the atmosphere of hatred. It inspires hatred and uncontrolled violence. And my father was attacked for the last 10 years. He was in opposition to Putin for the last 10 years, and he was constantly attacked, not only by the press, but he was attacked literally, physically. And he couldn't have any protection from the state. And he received threats on social media. And he applied for protection to the Central Investigation Committee, but he received no response. And the atmosphere is so awful that these murders are possible. And the most important thing, that in Russia, I'm regarded as a very strange person because I want full investigation. And people are so frightened, they are not free, and they can make up with the murders. They do not want to protect their rights because they have been all destroyed by Putin. And people are filled with fear.
But for you to even speak out like this is already dangerous. You've received threats even, haven't you?
I'm receiving threats all the time, and it's dangerous to be critical of Putin. It's less dangerous when you are outside Russia. It's more dangerous when you are inside Russia.
Is that why you left Russia? Tell me about what led you.
I left Russia because in Russia it would have been impossible to conduct investigation. I would have been pressed, and I am pressed. I was pressed not to conduct investigation, not to draw public attention, not to advocate for international control over the investigation. They hate the truth. They hate public attention to the investigation. They want it to be forgotten. And if it is forgotten, they will be really happy with that. The second thing is that I would have had problems with my job.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You're
in
a journalist.
Russia, in a normal country, a politician as a person who fights for power, who takes part in elections and who fights for power. In Russia, it is different. A politician is a person who speaks his mind. It might be a journalist, an economist, it doesn't matter. This person is regarded in Russia as a politician.
But are you not afraid to speak your mind, given what's happened to your father and to others like him?
I'm thinking about security, and that's why I left Russia, on receiving threats and on the fact that after my father's assassination, I think another one of his close supporters, in my opinion, had been poisoned in Russia. He managed to survive, but the probability was 5%. So it's really dangerous to live in Russia. It's less dangerous to live here, but I think that I cannot be silent on this issue. I understand there are risks, but I cannot do anything with myself. Like my father couldn't have done anything with himself.
I was about to say, do you think you've inherited that from your father? That strength, that courage?
My father is Boris Nemtsov, and I think that I'm his daughter. I guess.
Let me ask you this, though, because this is one thing that I've been confused about. Your father was a very public member of the opposition for many years. Why do you think he was killed now?
First of all, I would like to say that we in Russia, and not only in Russia, but all over the world, we could understand how popular he was only after his death. And he couldn't realize that he was so popular. And in Russia, the last protest where many people came was on the 1st of March. It was the March of Grief. And over 100,000 people took part in that, including my family and me and my grandma, who is 87, my father's mother. I don't think that it's a politically motivated assassination, and that is evident. And I don't think that there is one reason for that. In my opinion, it's his general activities, because he was not only the leader of opposition, he organized mass protests and he united the opposition forces, though the opposition in Russia is really weak. And it's so obvious for the authoritarian or even a totalitarian regime which we have right now. But he was a good expert. He was the author of many reports revealing Putin's corruption, and he was the author of the report about the Olympics Games, which took part in Sochi, and it was internationally recognized. It was translated into English as well. So he was dangerous because he was a politician, a public figure, and he was an expert in many things. And that appealed to people. And he was the strongest leader of the opposition. And he had world recognition. And he was not afraid of anything. He was really bold.
Afraid. I mean, that's what to me is so striking, is that fearlessness. Do you think he ever imagined that he would be killed, that he could be killed?
I don't think so. I don't think that he could have ever imagined, because as a normal person, if you think you might be killed, you would do something to protect yourself. He would never thought of that. He had never had any security. He was walking along the bridge without any security. So he thought that he might have been imprisoned. That was the biggest risk, and we discussed it. But never such thing in his, he couldn't have imagined that. And I couldn't have imagined that.
What was your reaction? How did you find out?
Actually, I found out because my mother got a call and we were together, but I couldn't believe it. And the first thing I did, I went to CNN website. Not to Russian website. I went to CNN website, and then when I saw this news, I went to a Russian website, and then we went to the site where he was killed, because we were neighbors, and I used to live not far from the bridge, like 15-minute walk. I'm sorry, English is not my native language, and we went with my father there, or with my mother. I'm sorry, there to the place where he was killed on the bridge, just 200 meters from the Kremlin walls.
200 meters from the Kremlin walls, surveillance cameras all around this area. You have demanded access to see some of that surveillance video. Have you made any progress?
I didn't demand. The investigation demanded the videos. and they got a response that they hadn't taped anything. I do not believe in it. And that's why we, with my lawyers, wrote an open letter to the head of the security agency of Russia, demanding these videos. But actually, they don't want these videos to be revealed for some reason, I don't know. But you have to know one important thing, that 2 days or 1 day after the killing, Putin said he would take under control the investigation process. And that means that there will never be any investigation under his control, no investigation. And that's what's going on, because now we have the trigger man, and we have some evidence of them being involved in that, of them committing the crime, but there is nothing done concerning the organizers and those who ordered the crime.
So you say that you know that it's unlikely that this investigation is ever going to go anywhere. And nonetheless, you are there every day pushing for it.
No.
What is this about for you? Is it about getting justice for your father, or is it about something bigger than your father?
First of all, I didn't say that it would never go anywhere. I think that it requires time and effort. It can take 10 years, and you remember what happened to Magnitsky. And without Bill Browder, there would have never been such an act as the Magnitsky Act. So the only thing that you have to be active, and you have to invest your time and effort into this case. And Putin is not forever. He is for a long period of time, but not forever. And at the point of time, we will know the truth, but we have to push with that. And I know for sure that what they actually don't like, they don't want to conduct an investigation, but what they asked me not to do, they asked me not to draw public attention and not to advocate for international control. And I filed an application to the European Court of Human Rights. And I think that they have at least problems with that. And finally, probably in 20 years, we will know the truth. Why I'm doing that, it's of course a very personal thing, but the second thing is that if you do not do anything, you agree to the fact that life is not important, and your basic and fundamental right for life can be violated. And I don't think that must be the case for Russia in the long run. And you have to fight for your rights. We, after the Soviet era disappeared, we didn't have fight for our rights, and now we have to fight for them.
The Russian opposition is in a very difficult position. It's been weakened. Your father fought so greatly for many, many years. How do you view the state of the Russian opposition in light of your father's death?
Russia is a very repressive country. It's a criminal country. It's not a country based on law. And of course, it's very difficult for the opposition to be active in Russia. And I think that this history would be repeated, that many finally will be forced to go away from Russia, to be active outside Russia. There is no other opportunity. If you are jailed, you are a hostage, you cannot do anything. And it's better to be free and to be able to do something. I don't think that it's a bad decision for Russian leaders. They don't want to go out, I understand. For them, it's a sign of weakness. But I think that's the only way to go forward, is not to live in Russia for now, for people who are very active.
We have such a strong sense of your father as a leader, as a member of the opposition. Give us a better sense of what he was like as a man and as a father.
I was his daughter, I wasn't his girlfriend, and I couldn't tell you what man he was. You have to ask my mother. But I know that many women loved him. He was a great man. And he was a great father. But what I want to say that he was not, he loved me a lot, but he taught me a lot of things, and he wanted me to be independent, to be financially independent, and to do many things on my own, and to take decisions on my own. And that's why I think that now I'm able to do things on my own without his help, because I didn't phone him every day asking for money, I don't know, for any support. I called him only when there was a very serious problem to be solved. And I think that's the most important thing, that he encouraged me to be very independent and very feminist, which is very uncommon in Russia.
No, but it's remarkable to see. He obviously has rubbed off on you so much. How do you see yourself now going forward, taking his legacy forward?
First of all, I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist and an activist, and there is a fine line between these two things. It's very difficult to be both a journalist and to cover objectively things and to be an activist. What I'm doing now, the first thing is investigation. That is very important. The second thing, that now I live in Germany, I work as a reporter for Deutsche Welle. And what I'm doing now, I'm setting up a foundation for freedom, Boris Nemtsov Foundation for Freedom. Outside Russia, it's impossible to work in Russia for foundations like that due to the repressive legislation which was passed in Russia for the last 2 years. And I would, within the framework of the laws, I would like to promote his values and to continue with his works. He thought that enlightenment was very important, and I would like to have this done. And the second thing is that I would like to set up an award, Boris Nemtsov Award, for bravery, for protecting human rights and democratic values in Russia. And also, the second thing is education, which is also very important for Russia.
Tomorrow is his birthday, and you'll be having a memorial service. My final question, do you think he would be proud to see what you're doing now?
Yes, I'm organizing a concert in Basel, you're absolutely right. I think he would have been shocked with me. He thought I was brave, but not that brave.
Zhanna Nemtsova, we all think you're incredibly brave. Огромное вам спасибо. Thank you so much.
Спасибо большое.